when you think about it, there are cases where you feel like a movie came out too late. It should have come out earlier than it did. I would say that Warner Brothers has definitely struggled with this because I think that both Aquaman 2 and The Flash should have come out earlier than they did. I mean, Flash first was introduced in Justice League back several years ago. And then we didn't get a Flash standalone film until 2023. By that time, interest had waned for the DCEU, and Warner Brothers shot themselves in the foot by announcing that, hey, the DCEU is going to end. We don't think this continuity is working. We don't think it's the future. So we're just going to move on to a new DC universe headed by James Gunn. In doing so, they admitted that all these movies don't matter. They're just leftovers. Meaning, this meant that people were a lot less excited. Warner Brothers let the air out of the balloon with the way they spectacularly mishandled the rollout of the DCU announcement. So Flash and Aquaman 2, by the time they came out, were both really hurt by lack of interest in the DCEU. Then Flash was hurt by a good amount of other stuff as well. If Flash had come out earlier, things could have been better for that movie. And by the time it came out, there was so much controversy around Ezra Miller. Regardless of how much of the stuff he actually did or not, the fact is the perception was very bad. So you had people that just didn't want to see the movie because of Ezra Miller. And with Aquaman 2, it was the final film in the DCEU, even though it was clearly not written or shot to be the end of the DCEU. Now, moving over to Marvel, I would say that Black Widow is the big recent example where you feel like, oh, this movie should have come out earlier. Because, for one, it's about Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, who died in Avengers Endgame. And the movie Black Widow is set prior to Infinity War and Endgame. It's set during Phase 3, in between Civil War and Infinity War. But the movie didn't come out when it is at in the timeline. Instead, Black Widow awkwardly came out after Endgame during Phase 4 when Natasha Romanoff had already died. So by the time Black Widow came out, it was set in a phase that Black Widow doesn't really build up at all, so it felt very awkward. Like, ooh, this movie should have come out like 5 years ago. And then when I look at Transformers, I would say Bumblebee should have come out earlier than it did. Because the problem is, by the time that movie came out, there was a lot of bad buzz surrounding the Transformers franchise. The Michael Bay Transformers films, unfortunately, tarnished the reputation of this franchise for a lot of people. As those movies went on, they were liked less and less. People got more tired of them. So by the time Bumblebee came out, there wasn't really a lot of excitement for new Transformers movies. Now, Bumblebee ended up being a very pleasant surprise. I think it's by far the best Transformers film. But if it had come out earlier, before people got so sick and tired of Transformers stuff, there could have been more excitement surrounding that movie. Also, I would say that, let's see, I I would argue that if Jurassic, actually, I think that's good.